Welcome to the fourth episode of the Tim Winter series on the Build It Better podcast. Tim Winter is the founder and CEO of Paradigm Building Group in Fairfax, Virginia. I am Zach Hopkins, and it is my job to dive deeper with you into what Tim has learned, what he knows, and where he's going. If you want to be the best, you have to learn from the best. That is why Build It Better exists. It's designed to help the next generation of residential professionals connect and communicate with the best in this industry. Tim is a friend, a mentor, and has some of the highest standards I've ever seen in his space. In this part of the series, we'll explore the ways he has been able to give back, including his 3-year-old foundation that builds homes for the ultra poor. When did you know that you wanted to give back with the business? Was there a certain point that you knew?
From the beginning. If you look back to my original business plan, I wrote something in there into the effects of, start some type of foundation to give back. So I don't know where that idea came from or what sparked it, but there was always something in there about giving back. Maybe it was a few leadership books that I read or some different things that talked about giving back, and so it's always kind of been ingrained in there somewhere from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So.
From a business owner perspective, so that wasn't something, growing up, were there things, that you had done growing up? I know in college you were part of a faith-based group that you did some kind of stuff with that we've talked about, some charity work and things like that. Was there anything that pushed you that way?
No, I mean, kind of growing up in kind of a faith-based community, I always had that mindset to give back and to do more.
Right.
But that was really it. It was probably just something that was inside me that always had a drive to do something, to do more.
Right, and that was just the timing of it.
Yeah.
So, kind of talk to me about the beginning of the foundation, how it came about, why it made sense, how it's organized, things like that.
Yeah.
To give people a rough idea.
Yeah, so my wife Jen went down to the DR with our church. We go to McLean Bible Church. This was I think end of 2013. She went down to do a human trafficking trip, and on that trip they were in a community in the DR handing out some food and doing some home visits and different things. And she just saw the living conditions, people living on dirt floors, just living in kind of these little shanties and shacks, and her heart just broke. And she came back with this idea of, hey, we should build houses. The organization that she was with visiting, they had built some things, but they were okay. They weren't great. So she came back with this idea of how do we do something? Right? You're a builder. You know how to build houses. Let's figure out something to start this foundation. And so that kind of kicked things off, and we started talking to some people in our network and in our church, and they connected us with a local pastor that was here that actually started a ministry in the Dominican Republic. Empowering Action is the name of the ministry that we're partnered with now.
Awesome.
So we've learned, we kind of went through that process. There was many little steps along the way. We knew that we wanted it to be Paradigm Foundation so that it would tie back to the business. And quick story about that. So the URL was taken by somebody else, and so I went up, found out who owned it, and then I called him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, it's funny that you're calling me because we are in the process of dismantling that side of the business operations.
Wow.
And we've got a meeting tonight. I'll get back to you, in a few days or a week or so, and let you know. Maybe it's something you can buy from us or something. So about a week or so goes by, and he doesn't reach back, so I follow back up with him, and he's like, oh, I actually been meaning to reach out to you. We're just going to give you the URL, paradigmfoundation.org. And I was like, wow, if that's not a sign that we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
That's something. So
that's crazy.
So we started that, and we applied for our 501c3 status in May. We were told it could take a year or two, and 3 months later,
wow,
we got the paperwork back. We were set up, ready to roll. We were down in the DR a couple times that year. This is 2014, doing some study and some looking at things, trying to figure out the right product. Went and met with a lot of the different people in the community, trying to understand their needs,
right.
Understand their lifestyle, understand kind of what makes sense as far as a house goes. And so we sent our first team down November 2014, and we built our first house. And fast forward now, almost 3 years, 3.5 years later, we're 25 houses in. So it's been an amazing ride, and it's been awesome to work alongside our partners in country. We work with the local church through our partners, and we take teams down, and we're down there 2-3 times a year, and it's just it's awesome. It's exciting. It's fun to give back. It's fun to go down and get dirty a little bit, lifting some things, and just changing people's lives and helping them out.
So Jen kind of had this spark down there. There's obviously all these different places to give back in the world. She had that spark in the DR, and you guys, just sounds like you guys have just been following that ever since.
Yeah, we've been looking at that, and we're looking at some other country expansion here that's on the horizon potentially for this year. We've got a couple things that are coming up trip-wise. But the DR has been a great opportunity to come alongside. We work, on homes. We serve what we call the ultra poor. Those living on less than $1 or less than $2 a day by the UN standards. And we want to come alongside and really help the local communities. We're in 4 different communities now, working with several different churches, and we've got a great, like I said, ministry partner in Empowering Action that helps us facilitate, and they're boots on the ground, and just it's a great partnership.
Yeah, and that had to be really cool for you, right? As a husband, you see, you hear your wife coming back and telling you these stories, and it all comes back to the same things with you time and time again, is building it the right way and taking care of people and just really caring. And your wife saw that there was a need to build it the right way, and I think that's so cool. It was probably very neat for you as a husband to kind of get that, awesome. And she's seen you building it the right way for so long like that, and you can take that even to a different country and help in a completely different way. So that must have been pretty cool.
Oh, awesome. I mean, anytime you can work together, anytime you can work with your wife on something that's impacting other people, I mean, it's life-changing, not only for the people you're working with, but yourselves. I've grown a lot, Jen's grown a lot, our relationship has gotten stronger, because we're not just about ourselves, we're about really helping other people. And it's cool too, because through the business we give back, and some of the proceeds from projects go towards that, and so the team gets involved a little bit too, and they see that, hey, that's not just about what Paradigm Building Group is here is doing in our own states, but through that organization we're giving back through our foundation, and they're a part of something more. Like I said, a little bit about culture. Family is important. This is just another piece of family. Right? It's an extension of who we are and what we do and why we do it. Right? Going back to, we do really care. It's not just about building big beautiful homes. I mean, part of it is, but at the same time it's about doing more and helping others in need.
Absolutely. So kind of run me through, you guys go to the DR. Are these trips, I know you guys go down there for build trips.
Yep.
Kind of run me through the normal schedule on something like that. Obviously I'm sure Jen does a ton of work to put that together on the front end. So kind of those processes, events you have here, things like that, kind of just so people understand as a whole.
Yeah, sure. The build trips we try to do twice a year.
Okay.
And teams are anywhere from 10 to 15, 10 to 16 people, and they're over the course of 5 to 6 days, depending on travel and things like that. And it's usually because of, it's about an 8-hour travel day to get down there. So you got 2 bookends of travel, 2 to 3 days of work, and then we do like a fun day where we can experience the culture and kind of, because the DR is about tourism, we also want to give back, by supporting the local economy and helping, and plus it's fun for people to go out and see something new. A lot of people haven't been to the DR. It's an amazing country, great people, food's really good, the beaches are beautiful, so the trip is, you don't need any construction experience. You come down and just come with a servant's heart to help people out. We've had kids, we've had, older women, it's about really just, helping people out, come alongside, even if it's just sitting there hanging out with people, getting to know people. That's about it. It's not about the house. The house is just a product. It's about building relationships in the community. That's what we're doing. That's what's exciting about taking teams down to be a part of that.
So I know you had talked about, a pastor here that started Empowering Action and then is in those communities. How much have you, been able to, come together with the church, with pastors down there in the Dominican and things like that? Like, talk to me a little bit about, your mission going down there. Sounds more like a mission trip.
Yep.
So, how does that kind of play into things? And also, if you want to talk a little bit about, the way that the people in these communities feel, because God is really wrapped around that entire thing.
Sure. I think, we work through Empowering Action, who works through the local church. They've got a huge network of churches. I don't even know the number right now, but a lot of churches they're working with to, work within the communities. They're teaching, they're training. They've got certain programs that they're helping to build the community around health and hygiene, but also around scripture and really pouring into the local community. So that's what's great about coming alongside the local church. It's not about here comes the Americans to save the day. It's like here's the church, the local church in the community that's helping build up each other's lives, and that's what it's about. That's what it's about, those relationships, and we're just a resource. Right? We're a resource to Empowering Action and to the churches, to help further people understand a relationship with God, understand their purpose, understand even health and hygiene to some degree, just understanding how to live life to the fullest.
And that's why you talk about becoming a servant leader on this trip. Yeah. You don't need any build experience.
No.
It's
no
more
Spanish. I don't speak any, or barely any. Un poquito.
It's more about the experience, though.
Yeah.
And like you said, the people. I think that's something. I've studied a lot of different foundations. That's something that really differentiates you guys, because it is all about the people, and it is all based around God. And that's something that they can come back to, like you said.
For sure.
So.
And that's great, too, to build the team, right? When the teams go, they come out, there's some camaraderie in the team. And then you come back here, and you've got some new friendships, new relationships, because you've done a unique trip and experience with somebody else, right? Not just going to the beach. That's great. We all do it. But this is something that you can experience a little bit different. There's a little bit more of a purpose behind it.
Yeah, I mean, when I was there, I was definitely out of my comfort zone, to say the least. It'll do that too, for sure.
Oh, yeah, but that's life, right? That's how we grow,
right?
You got to step out of your comfort zone sometimes.
And anytime you can do it with God, it's always a good day. So
that's right.
That's very important. So if you had one takeaway at this point from the foundation, being able to give back, whether that's from a professional aspect, whether that's from a personal aspect, whether that's with you and Jen, if you kind of had one thing that you've kind of had as an outlook,
that's a great question.
Has it changed your perspective? Kind of.
Yeah, I think it's made life be less about me and more about other people, right? Because when you're serving other people and when you're not thinking about yourself all the time, which frankly we all do, right? We're selfish individuals, but when you step outside your comfort zone to help somebody else, is that humble attitude, it changes your life. You see things, you see the perspective completely different. Right? You don't see people as just another person. You see people as a relationship. You see people as they've got feelings, they've got emotion. You have empathy towards them, and not just people in the DR. It's here too. Right? That transpires into who we are. Right? Going back to we care. Right? If you care in everything you do in your life, you're gonna have a lot of friends. You might have too many friends that might be calling you all the time to ask you to do things. Right. But at the same time, but that's what it's about. Right? It's about relationships. And that's what I've learned a lot about this foundation. It's about denying some of my own selfish, mentality and really pouring in, walking alongside other people. We've got some great friends down there, great people that have, Eddie, who's our foreman. I mean, he's just an awesome guy. He's a great builder. Just building a relationship with him and seeing him grow and seeing his life change. It's fun. It's exciting. It's not about just us, it's about other people. And I think if you live your life like that, you'll see a different perspective, and you have a different perspective on an outcome on how life is.
I got one last question for you. I know that you weren't necessarily, you had written it in your business model, or your business plan rather. You weren't necessarily looking for it actively to start that foundation at that exact time. Jen kind of had that spark, which led you to that, right?
Yeah.
So if you had a tip for anybody that was thinking of giving back or starting a foundation, whether it be, you know, giving back $1 or actually starting the 501c3 and all of those different things that go along with that, what is the first tip that you would have to start on that path? And is there anything, you know, I know that you've wrapped faith around this foundation and that's been able to guide you through those communities and all of these different things. Is there anything that you would give as a tip when starting and getting into that world as
Sure.
a whole?
I mean, I think it goes back to that same question of when you set out in life on kind of what you want to do. What are you passionate about? Right? I mean, yeah, I happen to be in the home building industry, and that's why, you know, I'm passionate about it. I love what I do. Right now, I've got this ability and this skill to take it, not only help people here, you know, for their homes and their needs, but also outside of the country for their homes and their needs. So it's finding something that you're passionate about and that you enjoy, and taking a skill set that you're good at and using it to help other people. I mean, I think if you follow that passion and that skill set, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but it's the truth, right? Follow what you really like to do, and you'll be successful at it because you're driven to make it, you know, to make it happen.
Right. And then you bring the faith into it, and it's game over.
Yeah.
That's why you guys are where you are. You know, it's very admirable. They're doing some great things with the foundation. Like I said, I went on a build trip. You know, I've given back myself, so I obviously wholeheartedly 100% believe in it, and I think it's a great thing. So I'm gonna wrap up with that, and we're gonna get into the next one, talking about Paradigm now and into the future.